In the middle of a drift race somewhere in Canada, a girl sees a racer kissing his girlfriend and begins attacking her, biting her on her neck. As the couple screams for help, we see the blood squirting from her neck vein. Moments later, we meet Real running away along with a bunch of villagers and hide inside the forest. We come to know the entire village has been infected with a mysterious vector-borne disease that is turning the villagers into zombies after they bite each other. The villagers are doing everything they can to stay alive, including hunting down zombies and burning their dead bodies. During one of those hunting trips, Bonin and Vezina notice a woman standing with her daughter in the middle of the forest and decide to check them out. As Vezina enters the forest, he realizes he has been set up, and gets bitten on the neck. He manages to kill the woman before running away, jumping into the back of the truck, as a bunch of zombies chase after him. Meanwhile, not too far away, we see Real giving up the fight, closing his eyes, and waiting for the zombies to finish him off. However, Tikul arrives on the scene and manages to shoot them dead, saving Real, who regrets that he hesitated. Looking at his now dead wife, he tears off a piece of cloth and ties around the injury on his leg. Later, lying on their backs in the back of their truck, bleeding to death, Vezina tells Bonin how he regrets not cashing out his deposits at the bank and taking his kid for a trip to Disneyland. Bonin tells him he regrets not going to Katie's home with a bouquet of flowers and asking her out for a date. Bonin tells him their lives must amount to very little, if going to Disneyland, and giving flowers to a girl who hates them is all they can think before dying, as he turns around and finds Vezina dead. Running out of gas, Celine stops and tries to fill the tank, only to be stopped by Therese and Pauline, who ask her to strip so they can check her for any bite marks. Finding nothing, Therese offers her a beer. When she tells them they are the first survivors she has seen after days of driving, Therese asks her to take as long as she needs. Meanwhile, returning to the hunting camp, Bonin finds Paco, who is surprised to learn Vezina has died, and gives him a proper burial in the ground. Later, finding Tanya tied to his bunk, Bonin comes to know she claims to have been bitten by a dog. Not believing her story, he tells how she will slowly turn into a zombie, describing all the gory details, only to realize she can't hear anything as her ears have been plugged by Paco. He walks out as the girl shouts and cries for help. Moments later, they hear a loud cry in the forest. Sensing trouble, Bonin cuts Tanya loose and gets inside the car with her, driving away. Paco, now completely turned, comes after them. But Tanya manages to blow his head away before driving away in complete shock. Meanwhile, while accidentally stumbling into a campsite, Tikul finds a woman who has been bitten. He shoots her on the spot. Bonin, while outside the Jangra, meets his school friend Demers back from his overseas trip. When he asks them about Jangra farm, telling him how people there were trying to bite him, they come to know he does not know anything and is clueless about the zombie apocalypse. Later, reaching there, they find the farm completely abandoned. Inside the farm, Tanya finds Zoe hiding in one of the rooms. Driving back, they take Zoe along with them. After reaching his cabin, Bonin hears a woman asking for help, but decides to ignore it. The next morning, when Tanya goes in the woods to relieve herself, she finds herself stepping on a trap. She looks around and sees a zombie looking for her. She tries to hide behind the wild shrubs, only to be discovered. But before she is bitten, Bonin finds her, stabbing the zombies relentlessly, making sure it is completely dead. Meanwhile, while having a complete meltdown in the middle of the forest, Tanya realizes she is not in Kansas anymore, as she comes back and gets in the car with them. However, they all freak out when Demers returns and surprises them by jumping on them out of nowhere. He congratulates Bonin for his growing family, as he tells them about something weird going on at some of the farms on Route 8. Deciding to find out what Demers was talking about, Bonin reaches the place and sees a bunch of zombies standing around a tall edifice made out chairs they have collected. One of the zombies spots Bonin and begins to screech and growl, alerting the others. Realizing he has been found, Bonin begins to run, finding Tanya on the way, as they get in the car and start driving in reverse, not stopping before they are completely out of sight, and away from the waiting zombies. Soon, the entire forest is completely filled with the sounds of zombies screeching and growling. Not too far away, Real and Tikul too arrive at the place and turn around after seeing a bunch of zombies standing silently in the middle of the cornfields. Bonin arrives at a place and we come to know the woman on the radio asking for help was Therese. Bonnie tells her he saw something strange on one of the farms, something he has not seen zombies do before. In the middle of trying to figure out why the zombies are back in the farms, Pauline thinks they are probably back because they are running out of food. However, Tanya thinks that the roads to the city must be blocked for them to turn back. She tells them they too have a better chance of surviving in the city. Pauline asks them to focus on blocking the windows and rationing the food. But she tells Zoe to eat however much she likes. Interrupting her, Celine tells them to move as staying here will get them killed, reminding them zombies are gathering, and that considering the road is right on the road, they probably know where we are. This scares everyone. Therese tells them she knows about a bunker and shows them the map, telling them how to reach there. Meanwhile, Celine finds Tanya vomiting outside the house. However, Tanya tells her it's a dog bite. During the night when Tanya asks him about her family and where they could be now, Bonin tells her jokingly they are surely not partying on a beach in Cuba. She asks him not to joke when she is serious. However, he tells her his family always considered him as the black sheep of the family, and yet here he is, alive and well, while they are all dead and gone. Tanya wakes up in the middle of the night and finds everyone outside huddled around a table. She comes to know they were talking about her dog bite. And when Pauline tells her they were only worried about the group, calling her darling, Tanya reminds her not to call her a darling and use her name. Meanwhile, outside the house, Therese hears a strange noise in the fields and comes to warn everyone. As they all come out with guns, Bonin heads out with a gun looking for the source of the noise. Looking ahead across the road, he sees nothing. As he turns around to leave, he is startled by a sound. As they all look ahead, there is an eerie silence, as they hear nothing. But suddenly there are sounds of footsteps, followed by the sounds of screeching and howling. They all turn back and start to run inside the house, managing to sneak outside, before the zombies invade the house. Soon, we see them running at a pace away from the house and into the forest. Now, with zombies close on their heels, they duck and hide, lying flat on the ground and staying behind fallen trees. As they hear the gunshots, they see Bonin out in the open with a shotgun firing at zombies. Finding herself caught by a zombie, trying to bite her, Tanya begins to panic. But Zoe stabs the zombie in the neck repeatedly to get it off Tanya, saving her. However, another zombie shows up. Celine stabs it from behind before running away, with more zombies chasing right behind her. Moments later, she comes back and we see everyone alive. The next morning, they meet Real and Tikul by the creek. We see Therese teaching Tanya how to shoot a gun, as she teaches her about removing safety and cocking it before firing. Arriving at a house in the open, Bonin turns back and suggests to Pauline to use the trek along the river rather than going through the open fields to minimize the risk of getting found, even offering to carry her himself if needed. However, Pauline does not agree and refuses to be carried by someone. As they move ahead in the open, we see Tanya cocking her gun correctly. And when Demers jumps on them out of nowhere to surprise them, Tanya shoots him dead, only to realize he was only joking. However, Bonin tells Tanya he was bitten. Therese too agree with Pauline and Bonin, telling her he was bitten, as she takes away the gun from her. Following closely behind, Real and Tikul join along with them, as they run through the open fields without getting caught. After walking for miles out in the open, they finally arrive inside a cabin and find a letter on the table. It tells them not to go to the city, as it has been completely overrun by the zombies. This comes as a disappointment to Tanya, who walks away after Therese has finished reading it. Moments after arriving at the cabin, as everyone disperses outside, Pauline keeps a close watch on everyone. Bonin finds a skeleton outside while on the prowl. Somewhere in the woods, we see Tikul is caught by a zombie. As he stands up, there is a loud growl followed by a scream and a gunshot. We see Tikul is caught from behind and cries as a zombie bites on her neck. Arriving at the cabin, Teresa and Bonin find Pauline with half her face eaten by a female zombie. Pauline breathes a sigh of relief as Therese shoots the zombie dead. Meanwhile, Celine is with Tikul telling him how she is tired of being a strong woman, handing her a picture of her family. As she stands up ready to strike, Tikul tells her her real name. Not too far away, Therese pulls a gun on Pauline, ready to fire. Soon thereafter they arrive at the bunker, finding it empty and ready for use. Later, while walking outside, Celine stumbles upon a zombie playing mother in the middle of the fields, as a child cries in the distance. They all look up and see the tower of chairs the zombies have built. Celine raises her machete and kills the woman. This infuriates the rest of zombies as they rise from their hibernation and start running after them. Bonin picks up Zoe and begins to run, with Tanya right after him. Bonin turns around and sees Therese has given up. Soon, the zombies reach her, and start biting from all directions. Celine too does not run and decides to stay to fight. As the hordes of zombies descend on her, Celine fights bravely till the end, when she too is bitten. Running back into the bunker, Bonin splits with Tanya and they both run in different directions. Meanwhile inside the tunnel, Tanya tells Zoe that she is the strongest of all, asking her not to forget it. She then walks outside, leaving Zoe behind. We see Celine is leading the pack outside now. Zoe finds herself with a zombie inside the tunnel. However, someone starts to play accordion and manages to lead it away from her. Sometime later, Zoe enters the bunker to find Bonin sitting on a chair with a gun pointed to his chin. He asks her to find Tanya, warning her she can't be here with him for long. He then goes on and tells her joke, bringing a smile on her face. As the movie ends, we see Zoe meeting a race car driver on the road. Pleased that she is not carrying a gun like the others, he offers her a ride and takes her along with him. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification for more of these videos. Thanks for watching.